Alright, what I'm sharing with you here, this is a roof section from a 62 VW Bug with the rollback roof. I'll kind of show you as we're getting prepped. We actually acid treated inside all these tubes because there was rust harbored inside of here. This was cut. We did not cut this. Somebody else cut it, brought it to us. It was damaged really bad. You can see how this kind of lays out. This was damaged really bad on this corner. We actually had to cut this plate out. The capture nut underneath it was spinning, so I had to redo that. We pulled it all apart, busted the spot welds, pulled it all apart, fixed that capture nut, put it back in the trap, and put that down. Spot welded those back. I'll clean this up here in a minute, but we had to push this whole corner in because this was damaged. And I think we got pretty good reckoning. You can see here we got weld through primer for some kind of corrosion protection in there. I cleaned it up as best I could with a 36 grit and then a Scotch-Brite roll-lock pad. I'll show you that maybe. We use this for cleaning up metals whenever we're dealing with shit. This can get down in, you can really dig with it. It's very flexible, they wear out quick, but they're great. They're cheap for what they are. So Joe and I got that straightened out, cut apart, welded back together. Right now we're stripping out all the old interior components because you got these knurled fingers in the steel and it's crimped. So we got to get rid of all that, or else we'll set this thing on fire when we go to weld it. What we've got here is a 60 VW. That roof over there will fit this. He wants the rollback roof on it. We're planning just cutting it out and inserting the roof. This is going to come with a full kit for the headliner. So if you're off a little bit, it's not going to fit. And there's a lot of welding, a lot of warping potential up here. What we're going to do is we've got these traced now. And then we've got the line, an accurate line, right? And I don't like this forward. We're probably going to go find something a little more rigid than this. Trace these onto them, and then we'll trace. What I need is my hole opening from the start, which is this flange all the way around. That's going to give me the most accurate read. If you looked on there, it's not triple wall, it's just a double wall. Outside and inside stamped and spot welded together. So we're going to weld around this, we can weld around this and make it all primo again. So what we'll do is we'll get something more rigid. We're going to trace out where that roof is cut. We're going to mark, like, okay, the roof is cut here, let's say. And it's cut up here, let's say. We'll mark it. We'll put it back in here and we'll mark our pillars where it's been cut, and we'll just go about connecting the lines best we're able. They did a reasonably clean job cutting that off, so the lines are fairly straight. Sawzall, it looks like. A little bit of straightening to do, but not a big deal. When I'm done with that, once we cut it here, we'll actually cut a slice out of it. And I'll use this slice, we'll punch plug holes. And I'm going to sleeve this so we can set that down on top. Any discrepancies we have in this line, if it's not a perfect butt weld, will be covered by that plug weld, and we can adjust it and move it around. And again, we're starting with a good trace of the glass and this line here, so we have accurate measurements, so when the glass goes back in it, it'll fit. The rubber gasket will fit, the headliner will fit. We're not doing anything crazy or custom. So you know, already we've done a lot of rust repair, and we nosed this Bug because it had been hitting the front and mangled up pretty bad. So we're gonna finish cleaning up the roof. We got some material to brace up. We'll do X bracing, and so that's kind of our journey right now. We're stripping the interior headliner material out of this. Once we get that cut off, we'll do the same thing, get it stripped back far enough we're not messing with it. Alright, so we're back at you. Joe is working on bracing right now, so it's going to get loud. I'll kind of show you what we got going on. You see this stuff here? About 1/4 inch thick. It's a foam core poster board. Any office supply store. But I'll kind of show you why we got it. This is driver's side recorder glass. This mark where we're cutting, where this cutoff is. So this shows us this. Yes, this is the passenger side. I'm showing you the wrong one. Anyhow, this shows you this. That line right there is this pinch weld. That being said, we have one for the 4 windows of input. So we took this, we transferred these marks over to here. We ran tape around each point, connecting the dots. Without getting ridiculous and over complex, we ran them as straight as we could, and that's that. Next we'll get, there's only 2 braces required on this because that roof is cut low enough. The A pillars aren't going anywhere. The B pillars will flex inward, and the C pillars are on the back window. It's cut so low that's not going to move. So we're going to run next brace to the center of the car where the doors still operate so we can get our proper clearance over the doors. And we're going to cut this thing off. We shall return. Alright, so let's kind of look at what Isaiah and Joe and we all been up to. Isaiah's gone through, we actually used weld through primer down in there. I acid wash down in there too because there was corrosion. They're all cleaned up, stemmed back. We marked the bug. And we cut, and we ran the tape around and we cut on the tape. There's going to be discrepancies, we know this. That's why we're going to sleeve all that shit. I'll show you that in a minute. Alright. Alright, as you can see, we've already whacked this at the tape lines. We're going to get this roof off of here and see what we got. Alright, Isaiah. Grab the back of this bug. Joe and I are going to take the I actually have it now. Already for window. Up. Alright, Isaiah's way. Well, they didn't need that shit. Well, it's gone. Isaiah might stuff in the pile. I'm not trying to do about that. Flip it over. Alright. I want you to take an 1.5 inch off one of these colors. Take that white tape and mark it and just cut them around the face shield, gloves, like you're supposed to.
And I deal with those guys too. I just don't have to do
Alright, we got the lid off of there. Joe and I are going to test fit the new one just to see, and it's going to come right back off on a stand. Isaiah right now is cutting more off of the old roof that we can make sleeves out of. We're going to run sleeves down in. I'll show you that. Stick around. Hold on tight. Yeah, I want to see how it fits. Alright, Joe. I don't know. Around here. There's got to be a roll around here. If there isn't, grab another one out of the box or out of the cabinet. Joe, let's just set this up on there. You now flip it over and we'll just both grab it and set it down. It's getting completely rewired and there's nothing we can do about it. Let's just grab it, flip it over, and carry it over and lay it in place. Then we'll see if the door's shut. If the door's shut, then we get it exactly correct. If the doors don't shut, we gotta flip it over further. Grab the side, and we'll go for it. right, so we got the chop done. Now check this out. We had really bad cuts here, and we had to mate some bad shit. So I actually have to, what Joe's working on right now is we're making these pieces so it can be fitted correctly. That's terrible, I know, that's awful, I know. We actually cut the sleeve out here. You can see where it was plug welded. We knocked the sleeve out because we're having fitment issues. Now we've got all the window templates fitting. We got good door gaps. Over there is a little issue on the B-pillar, and I'm going to work my way to it. There's a crumple in the roof right here. We tried to get most of it out on the table. It didn't exactly get all out on the table. So that's affecting us somewhat. But most of our gaps are, you know, relatively benign. Nothing huge. Little pieces to fill here and there, whatever. This is the one that's off. You can see it. So I gotta twist that a little bit. All right, so far we braced up the interior reasonably, bolted it to the chassis reasonably, cut the old roof off after making marks from the window templates to the new roof to the old roof. Cut that off. Really, a process like this is so much easier when it's the same guy cutting both roofs off. You run into issues with, I guess, technique issues, for lack of a better word. I'm going to cut something this way, someone else is going to cut something that way. It's not excuses. And there's no excuse for it. You do good work or you don't. Right now, we're just getting everything stitched together. Joe's working on some of the pieces to bridge the really bad areas. We have to cut some of the really bad areas open wider to piece them in more correctly. Until then, I'm going to run around and get some stuff stitched together, some of the metal finish done, that way we can start looking at a more finished product. Alright, so we had a little bit of ugliness going on, putting it all back together. Now, you got to remember, this is the first vehicle I've ever cut a roof off of. We're going back stock height. We're not changing anything. We're not changing any characteristics, any trigonometry. It's supposed to be simple. But everything's got to line up factory-like. So, this is Monday. This is a day of piecing it, welding it. I got them tacked down last Friday. Came back to it this morning. Got in the shop early and started welding and metal finishing. Let's take a look. Got this A-pillar done. See, I got a B-pillar here. See, I think this is residual twist from when it got crashed. And this roof isn't true. I got to talk to the owner. We got issues over there. I got most of it pushed out when it was on the stand, but not all of it. Things are twisted. I got all the window templates to line up, height, width. Got our door gaps. Look at our door gaps. You know, stock bug. Damn it. You know, here's the inside. You do just some polyester glazing and that'll be straight. Rear sail panel where we had some heavier work to do, but it came out real well. Flange lines up, the gutters line up, this body line comes through. It's a little weebly right here, and I can actually take a chisel and redefine that if I need to. Our gutters, look at the gutter lines up, knock on. You know, this flange lines up good, all this came out good. Let's take, you know, and I can take you all four corners and show you the same thing. I actually had a piece right here that I had to piece in because we had a void, a big void here that I had to deal with. But the gutter rail, you can see again, there's a gutter rail, there's the body lines, stepping back and looking at it. B-pillar on this side's done. Again, you can see the door gaps are great. The door operates like it's supposed to. A-pillar. Now similar to this one, that was kind of ugly to weld up. And it's a little irregular right here. I'm not 100% satisfied, but it's real shallow. I'll pull fiberglass for some of my quote worst sections, and they're not that bad. I've seen people go with worse than that on what they call factory like. I'm gonna let you go. Let me cover some basics. All right, see this? If you recall, when we started cutting this apart, it was sitting this way in my shop. Okay, this floor slopes to this drain to the tune of like 1, maybe 2 inches a foot. No, not even that much, maybe an inch a foot, I don't know, but it drops to this drain, and it's significant enough that the minute we turned it facing, the roof fit and the door gaps fit correctly, and we're fighting it. I got to turn around, drop the roof back on it, everything looked great. So moral of the story is you have to have it set in a position where it's flat, more or less. Something you can work with. On a rack would be great. We don't have one. So we turn it around facing this way so it's downhill, and it's not like this, because that's going to twist your suspension and everything else. So this will let your suspension rest in a more natural position. So that's a Volkswagen Bug. Let me see. Yeah. You've got to make sure everything's riding on the suspension correctly, and we cut templates for all the windows. They fit. That's pretty much the story as it sits. I'll talk to you later.